So, we saw him do so well at Wimbledon, getting to that final, even taking a set. Winning last week in Washington. He looked very comfortable. He looked to really be enjoying himself, and that's what makes me excited to see him in this draw as well.
He seems to just have like so much time. The ball comes to him, and it's like he's almost like he's weighing up his options as it's coming over the net, even though this is happening at like high pace. And he's like, where should I put it now? When should I place a little drop shot in or go for the 90-mile-an-hour winner?
It could either be brilliantly hilarious because they'd both be very aware of that, or it could be so chaotic.
Welcome back to the Getting a Grip podcast. Merlin's got his Blue Jays cap on today in preparation for the Montreal Open. So it's the right country, but the wrong city.
That's what it's all about.
Oh God!
Sorry, I can't contain myself. Oot
and a boot. Is there any other sayings I should be aware of?
No, not really. There's basically that. We talk about poutine, mousse, maple syrup, and ice hockey, and that's pretty much it, really.
Is poutine is that a Canada-wide thing? So like it does apply to Montreal as well.
Much.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Chips with cheese and gravy or something?
It's chips with something on top of it, which kind of feels like a little bit of a steal for me. It's not really cuisine, but I may have offended a lot of Canadians with that, so who knows?
No, I think Northerners in England would appreciate that bit of chips and gravy with a bit of cheese.
They'd love it. Oh yeah, they'd love it. Yeah, you could have. Yeah, they do it. These places that do poutine, they basically do all of the different countries. You can have Italian, for example. You just have some nice bolognese.
So it's just chips with sauce.
It's
any
chips
sauce you
with sauce,
choose.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm all for it. I didn't actually have any when I was in Canada, which is rather shocking. But yeah, I didn't have that, and I didn't have Tim Hortons. So
good old Timmy's. Yeah, you can't go wrong with a Timmy's. I've got to say, I really hope there's a Canadian listener out there because basically I'm going to just be Canadian today. So
lovely. So you're going to be really nice to me then?
No.
Okay. There's only so far that it stretches.
Except that.
Okay, apart from the main thing that they are known for. Okay. Excellent. And their beards. No, I don't think they're known for their beards.
Yeah, nah.
Mainly poutine and baseball. We'll go with that. And a bit of hockey.
More ice hockey than baseball is in terms of stereotypes, but gotta love the baseball. There's only one major league team there, so.
Anyway, yes. Back to the sport that we're supposed to be talking about, which is tennis. The last time I checked, we're moving on from Mexico and America into the Canadian Open, of course. Masters 1000 event, one of the big ones that we've quizzed ourselves on many a time. Only notable absences are, well, I say only. We've got Nadal and Djokovic not playing for various reasons. There's still stuff going on about Novak and is he going to be allowed to enter America and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, he doesn't normally play Montreal, I don't think. But Nadal is a big miss. But then, who needs Nadal when we've got King Nick turning up? He's won the Washington event literally like last week or yesterday, whenever it was. So he's looking in good form. And there's obviously all the big hitters are involved. Medvedev's looking in good shape. Obviously just won Los Cabos. Norrie will be there. Jorge Aliassime, home favourite. I'm sure Dennis will be playing as well. Remember that the big first win he had against Nadal? That was at the Montreal Open, I think, back in when was that, like 2017 or something. So fond memories for him. I don't know, like what you make of the draw. Any matches that stand out to you? I know there's one that stands out to me. I just need to check it. Anything you like? Any matches stand out to you, or what's your kind of predictions for the tournament?
What are my predictions? I mean, I've got a great little match for one that tipples the taste buds a little bit, and that's clearly my main man, who is being given a wild card entry to the draw, and he plays Taylor Fritz in the first round, and I think that's going to be quite an exciting one. I suspect that Taylor Fritz is going to make light work of him, which would be a little bit sad. However, I think that Fritz is on good form at the moment, and Andy Murray on a hard court, maybe not the perfect scenario for him, but it's still I am excited to see what will happen there. I think you've also got an insane match in that of Carreño Busta versus Berrettini, so I think that'll be quite an interesting one to see as well. Um, yeah, apart from that, there's quite a few buys. Which I'm kind of
Yeah.
surprised about. Which, you'd think you'd just shove as many Canadian tennis players in as you possibly could. They've done a nice job of putting some of the home favourites in. It's nice to see Pospisil back on court. We're going to
Oh,
see him competing as well. Um, but yes, like I say, Auger Aliassime and Shapovalov. And I'm assuming that the match you really want to see is Shapovalov versus Diminor.
yeah. I think that's the one that stands out. There was one other. Yeah, well, obviously Davidovich. He's until he's like properly seeded, he's just going to be a nightmare for any of these big
Yeah,
guys in first rounds. Like
yeah,
we
yeah,
saw at
yeah.
Wimbledon, he knocked Hurkacz out, I think, in the first
He's very
round.
dangerous. Very dangerous.
So who is it he's playing? Schwartzman. Yeah, Schwartzman's got a
Yeah.
tough one there. That could go either way. But yeah, yeah, Shapovalov against Diminor. That's gonna be a tasty one. Dennis is kind of his form's been a bit turbulent in the last few months, so
Mm.
it would be nice to
Much
see
like his
him.
mentality, though, these days, I'd say.
Yeah, again, I suppose a little bit like when we talk about Kyrgios. The talent is just like there in abundance.
Oozing. Yeah, yeah.
It's just kind of I don't know, being in the right headspace, being I don't know, trusting yourself, not getting distracted by
Yeah.
crowds, I don't know, umpires, whatever it is. It
Mm.
just he seems to kind of can derail quite quickly. Like we saw I mean, he played amazing like back in the Australian Open. I think
Yeah,
he
they
was in
did.
the quarters or
They did.
semis against Nadal, and
Mm.
then he got, I think the umpire like wound him up or something. And yeah, it's just these things that you see happening. It happened at Rome as well when he like stepped over the net. So yeah, it is frustrating.
I say these umpires do have a way of winding the likes of Shapovalov and even Kyrgios up. Kyrgios' mind actually seems to be living with his sort of changes in sort of mentality throughout a match quite well these days. We saw him do so well at Wimbledon, getting to that final, even taking a set. Winning winning last week in Washington. He looked very comfortable. He looked to really be enjoying himself, and that's what makes me excited to see him in this draw as well. Because a Kyrgios that's enjoying himself on a tennis court, I think that's the most dangerous thing to any tennis player.
Yeah, it looks like sometimes it looks like he's just like toying with his opponent. He seems to just have like so much time. The ball comes to him and it's like he's kind of like it's almost like he's weighing up his options as it's coming over the net, even though this is happening at like high pace. And he's
Yeah,
like, where should I put it now?
yeah,
When should I place a little drop shot in or go for the 90-mile-an-hour winner? So yeah, he's in great form actually. Do you see him as an outsider for winning the tournament?
an outsider.
Well,
I,
I mean,
put
seeding
him as
wise,
the
he would be.
potential to win. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Again, we're talking seeding here, aren't we? When we say
Yeah,
outsider, but for me, he's the one that I would say is probably going to take it because of the form and B, he seems quite happy, and that's what's nice. I really enjoy seeing that.
yeah. I think the only other player that could probably stop him is Medvedev. Actually, seeing the way he played in the week just gone, the way he sort of, I mean, he had the final against Norrie. He sort of had like a tight first set, and then
Yeah,
sort of just obliterated him in the second set. And we know how good he is on hard courts. Amazing
yeah,
agility and speed for someone of that size. And obviously, yeah, he won the US Open last year. Should have won the Australian Open, really. So I think he's kind of he will be the favourite in terms of seeding and yeah, in terms of form, it would be pretty close between him and Kyrgios. I'd be interested to see that actually, kind of a clash of styles in a way because Medvedev's
wind-up merchants.
yeah. Well, they both like getting wound up by the umpire, and they try and wind each other up. I'm sure.
I know. That's genuinely what I think. I think it could either be brilliantly hilarious because they'd both be very aware of that, or it could be so chaotic.
Mm. But
And
then,
I'd just like to enjoy that.
do we want that though? Can't we just focus on the tennis?
Oh, it's meant to
Nah.
be about the tennis. Oh, we like a good story, don't we? A little bit of drama. Our lives are so boring by comparison. Why not have a little bit of high stage tension? But then again, I do agree. It should more be about the tennis. But
Do we get many hecklers in like Canadian competitions? I don't know what the fans are like generally.
No. No, the stereotype is very true. I mean, this is a funny thing. Like Montreal, for example, a lot of French-speaking people, but they're not like French people. Whereas I would say, probably the most issues we have in world tennis are probably with French crowds. I apologize to anyone who's French listening, but the French Open is the place that I would
They're
say
pretty brutal.
worst heckling in terms of tennis fans. But you don't really see that in Canada, and that's a good thing. Maybe it's partially due to the stereotype, but I personally haven't watched a match in that sort of scenario and heard much heckling.
Yeah.
Drama.
Oh yeah. Let's see. So yeah, okay. I guess you're saying Kyrgios to win it. I'll go with Medvedev. Any other players that you think could, sneak into the final or semi-finals?
Oh, sneak into the final or the semi-final. I mean, Alcaraz could always find some hot form, but again, it's a hard court. It's not clay, so he's still got a bit to learn at this stage in that regard. I'd be concerned about any of the Canadians, the likes of Shapovalov or Auger-Aliassime, more Auger-Aliassime than Shapovalov. But apart from that, I would say maybe home crowd for Auger-Aliassime, because he does seem to get pumped up and he can play some incredible tennis.
That's not a bad shout at all. I think the only other one I'd probably mention is Sinner, because he's been playing pretty well just generally.
He's been insane as well. Yeah, that's true. That absolute battle that he and Alcaraz had in the final was, absolutely something to behold. If that's the future of tennis, then no concerns that the top four are leaving us.
Well, we'll always miss them.
Way out.
Yeah, so we know that. I mean, Federer turned 41 today. I mean, bloody hell.
Scary, isn't it?
If he comes back and even manages to get to, I don't know, the second week of a major or something, if he does play a major again, that in itself would be amazing. But yeah, I guess it's unlikely.
Yeah, well, stranger things have happened, like Andy Murray getting a metal hip and then contending on the world stage, like Nadal still winning in a serial fashion.
With 1 foot, yeah.
Yeah, like the Bryan brothers. What was it? One of the Bryan brothers had the same surgery as Murray, and he's I think he's retired now, but he still played at a top level with that. So who knows?
Yeah, obviously it's tougher on the body in singles, so it's more of an unknown. But anyway, we'll see. Yeah, there's still plenty of players to enjoy, and hopefully more battles. Obviously, we mentioned Musetti last week or the week before. Again, he's another one of those young ones. We just want to see kind of a nice little group of them kind of pushing each other on. Because I think even with the big four, as good as they already were, in their, I don't know, early to mid-20s, they still pushed each other on more and more. And they're arguably
this is it. We need to see those rivalries develop. It's about seeing those rivalries develop. And Sinner and Alcaraz, I could see that potentially becoming one, which would be really nice. But it all remains to be seen. We can't predict these things. They'll naturally manifest.
Yeah. Anyway, exciting week ahead, and we shall see if any of those predictions come true or whether we're just silly armchair fans like a lot of other people.
Quite possible.
Yes, well, this week we entered our first kind of proper tournament, so to speak, as a doubles pair in a local competition in Devon, actually down in Torquay. We just kind of wanted to do it for competitive experience, whatever, put yourself in the position of players that you coach, that sort of thing, see what it's like. It was a fairly high standard, although maybe it's been of a higher standard before, but it was a grade 3, which is kind of one of the harder levels you can play in the UK at least. So we actually ended up winning our first match. It was a nervy first set, especially from me, just kind of getting used to the environment and the pace and all that sort of stuff. And then
we were put on a clay court, and that's something that we're not used to as well. So, which was great fun, I must admit.
you were so happy. Merlin likes the grindy style, so clay is sort of a court that you should always have played on. I feel like you should have grown up on clay courts, really.
I really should have. Yeah.
In another world, you have, but not in this one. So yeah, we started off on clay. I think that actually did help us a little bit because it kind of slowed it down a little bit, gave us a bit more time on like returns and volleys and stuff. So yeah, we ended up taking the second set and then winning in the championship tiebreaker. So they don't do like proper third sets. We just do a tiebreak to 10. Came through that one, and that was quite nice because we weren't even really expecting to win
No,
per
not
se.
at all.
And then yeah, in the second match, came up against the fifth seeds in the competition, so we knew it was going to be a pretty tough match. And this time we were put on a different surface, such as the way these things work and the organised chaos basically of the tournament. And maybe they wanted to play on Astro, who knows?
You never know.
And yeah, we ended up getting beat quite comfortably. But the main thing I took from it was the speed at which we were playing was not really a problem. It's more just the execution and just the accuracy basically at that speed. That was kind of the difference really. It's just kind of the smaller differences as you go up the levels kind of manifest in bigger scoreline differences. I don't know what did you think?
The way I see it, if you take it from a coach's point of view, the technical differences can actually be quite large. We were by far in that second match and the first match as well. We were by far technically better. So we clearly had more refined shots, hit a better ball, were able to use a much better variation. The difference with it was that the fellas we played in that second match, whilst their technique wasn't as good, they could hit a 50p coin at will. And it's merely that placement, the ability to put it, sort of nice and deep. Whether the pace is there or not doesn't really make the difference. If you can outplace the ball on someone's court, then that makes the whole difference of a match. And most points, like I say, a lot of these points were quite competitive, but whether they could place that ball, shorter when we were deep and deeper when we were struggling in terms of positioning and all that sort of stuff. Like I say, that changed it and definitely gave them a lot of momentum. And picking up these quick points as well, the ability to volley, just across quite quickly after a serve, those sorts of things, they do pick up points and make it a lot easier to get that sort of momentum and that rhythm. So, like I say, it definitely shows us that it's not like we're playing different tennis. It's merely the fact that they've been playing it for so many more years. We actually asked them at the end, I take it you guys have played together quite a bit then, and they joked and said that one of them hated the other one, in jest, not in reality. But it's that thing. You have to get to know someone so well in doubles, I think, in order to be able to really take advantage of each other's games and really play off of each other's strengths.
Yeah, I think that they were in like their mid-30s and they'd probably been playing together for like 5-10 years. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think you're right. Like it was just the accuracy. Like their serves weren't particularly fast or anything, but they were very accurate into the body, into the backhand on the return, that sort of thing. And like he could spot when you were a bit too deep, maybe, or when I was too deep, and play like a little drop volley. Just to being able to see the game, where to place the ball, kind of at all times. And some of the service games were just over so quickly. Like that transfer of pressure it always felt like it was on us, and we were trying to slow it down a little bit, but it was quite difficult because we were struggling. Well, obviously we didn't hold our serve, but we were always struggling to hold our serve, and they would kind of whistle through some of their service games in no time, which you see at the top levels as well, like in these big Grand Slam matches as well. When someone's in a good rhythm on serve, they can get it done in like a minute or two, and then the next player is immediately back under pressure. So it was good. I would definitely be keen to enter more of those kind of tournaments and stuff, because it'd been ages since I'd actually played in a proper tournament back, I don't know, when I was in my teens or something. So it was kind of it was a bit weird. There was lots of junior stuff going on, which was nice to see as well, and it makes you want to push on more, like when you feel like you're not too far away, but then the difference is kind of clear in the scoreline. You're I want to. There's things to work on there.
Yeah. Clear differences in scoreline might be small differences in ability, and sometimes it's like tiny little fraction of a second things. But like I say, they do change it. So
yeah, it's a good experience anyway, and I'm sure there's more to come.
Anyway, it's time for the quiz. This week it's Ben in a hot seat. We're going to give him a tough time with some Canada-styled questions. I don't think they're all that mean, but hopefully a couple of them might be a little bit tricky for people to pick up on. So we're talking about Canadian players. We're going to talk about Canadian heritage. I myself love Canada. Everyone who knows me very well knows that to be true. And let's get started. Let's see if Ben can top the scores up with a 5 out of 5 this week. Anyway, number one, who is the highest ranked Canadian WTA player in history? This woman was ranked at number 4. So can you tell me, out of these 4 options, who you think the highest ranked Canadian WTA player in history was? Number 1 is Bianca Andreescu. Number 2 is Milos Raonic. Number 3 is Malika Auger-Aliassime. And number 4 is Françoise Abanda. What do you reckon, Ben?
Wait. Did you say WTA and then say Milos Raonic, or have I heard that wrong?
No, you didn't hear it wrong. I said there are 4 players: Bianca Andreescu, Milos Raonic, Malika Auger-Aliassime, and Françoise Abanda. Who is the highest ranked Canadian WTA player in history?
Well, I don't think it's Milos Raonic. You should have said like Millie Raonic or something. Andreescu, who was the other one? Say the other 3 again, sorry.
All of the options are real people, just to clarify.
Oh yeah. I'm aware of that.
It's not like
you said WTA, didn't you?
I did say WTA, you're quite right. Yeah, you're quite right. So you want them again?
Yeah, go on.
Bianca Andreescu.
Yep.
Milos Raonic, Malika Auger-Aliassime, and Françoise Abanda.
Can't say I've heard of the last one, but I mean, I'm torn between the first one and the last one just because I don't know who the last one is. This is exposing my lack of knowledge on women's tennis, I think. I'll just go with what I know. I'll go with Andreescu.
You are correct. Well done. That is the first one. I could have given you a genuine conundrum. I could have given you Jeannie Bouchard as one of the options, but I thought, I'll be a little bit nicer and save her for another question. Yes, it is Bianca Andreescu, who was ranked number 4. She is the highest ranked Canadian WTA player in history. Milos Raonic, of course, is actually on the men's side of tennis, the ATP Tour. Malika Auger-Aliassime, she is a female tennis player, and yes, she is related to a certain other Auger-Aliassime. It's kind of obvious. Yes. What we're going to do is go on to question number 2 now. So this one is a little different, and hopefully you'll get this one. Canada has its own version of what we call the LTA, the Lawn Tennis Association in the UK. What I want to know is, what is it called? And your 4 options here are the Canadian Tennis Association, Tennis Canada, the Maple Syrup Association, and what's the point if it's not ice hockey? So I'll give you those 4 options again. The Canadian Tennis Association, the Tennis Canada, the Maple Syrup Association, or what's the point if it's not hockey?
I wish it was the last one. Well, I mean, obviously it's one of the first 2, but I'll go with... Wait, hold on. Did you say Tennis Canada?
Yep, so the Canadian Tennis Association, Tennis Canada, the Maple Syrup Association, and what's the point if it's not ice hockey?
The only reason that the Tennis Canada thing draws me a little bit, because I know the Australian one's Tennis Australia. Ah, damn it. That would look so stupid. CTA or TC? I will go with the first one. I'll go with, what was it, Canadian Tennis Association?
Canadian Tennis Association. Is that your final answer? God, I wish I'd
Yeah,
asked.
I'll go with it because like the US one's USTA. I don't know. I'll go with it.
Unfortunately, you need to get a grip. The correct
God's
answer
sake.
is the maple syrup. No, it's Tennis Canada. Of course, it's Tennis Canada.
Ba-dum-tsh.
Yes, and yes, indeed. Obviously, the last two were clearly mean, stereotypical answers aimed at Canada. But yes, the first two, both reasonable, but Tennis Canada is what their Canadian version of the LTA, governing body for tennis in Canada, is called. Tennis Canada. We'll move on to question number 3 now. Unfortunately, you are 1 for 2 at the moment, so that 5 out of 5 will elude you again this week.
I'm going to get like 2, I think.
We'll see. We'll see. Number 3. One male Canadian tennis player has actually won Wimbledon. But what I want to know is who? And your 4 options are Milos Raonic, Felix Auger-Aliassime, Vasek Pospisil, or Daniel Nestor.
Ooh.
So what I want to know is one male Canadian tennis player has actually won Wimbledon before. But who?
Well, it's one of the last 2. And obviously in doubles. Like Nestor's a good doubles player. Pospisil, did he ever actually win doubles title? Ooh. It's a tough one. Again, my lack of doubles knowledge. Oh, something's telling me that Pospisil did win. Maybe he won like a mixed doubles or something. I'll go with that one. I'll go with Pospisil, but I don't know.
With Pospisil. I can reveal that that is correct. Well done. Yes, Vasek Pospisil did indeed win the 2014 Wimbledon doubles with none other than America's Jack Sock as his partner.
Oh.
They won the 2014 men's doubles. Yes, he also made it to the Wimbledon singles quarterfinals. I believe it was the same year, actually.
Yeah.
But yes, Daniel Nestor has also had a lot of success. He is Canada's most successful doubles player. I think he actually, at one point, was one of the most successful players. He's one of the first to reach 1,000 tour wins. But unfortunately, he has not won at Wimbledon before. So there
Sad
you go. Yes, a little bit sad there. So, number 4. That same year, still 2014, Jeannie Bouchard stunned crowds to reach the women's singles final at Wimbledon. What I want to know is who did she lose to? And your 4 options here are Petra Kvitova, Serena Williams, Caroline Wozniacki, or Anna Ivanovic.
Oh, that's a name I haven't heard in a while. Ivanovic. It wasn't, I'm pretty sure it wasn't Serena. You said Kvitova, who was the other one?
Caroline Wozniacki.
Nah. I think it was Kvitova. It was around then that she won one. I'm not exactly sure if it was 2014, but I'll go with that.
You are correct. Petra Kvitova is indeed the individual who beat Jeannie Bouchard in that women's singles final. Jeannie Bouchard has actually won the Wimbledon girls title before, and she was dubbed as one of the most likely players to come forward and start to produce on the women's tour. Obviously, she looked very, very solid for a good time there until the weird, dramatic sort of media spin that occurred when she slipped over in, I think it was the US Open changing rooms, and then had to, I don't know what exactly happened there, but regardless, that seemed to mark the end of the promising career that she was likely to have.
Yeah, I can't even remember that.
Anyway, I do remember it because it was quite sad. She was a little bit more of a favourite player. I know a lot of tennis fans were quite intrigued by what she brought to the game.
There was a lawsuit.
There was a lawsuit. Yes, that's right.
Blimminack. Okay.
Can't remember any of the details, but someone can tell us in the comments.
A bit of juicy information there.
Anyway, question number 5. You've got 3 out of 4 so far. Can we make it a 4? You thought you'd get 2. Finally, the National Bank Open, or Canadian Open, is shared between 2 of Canada's great cities. What I want to know is which ones are they? Your options are Ottawa and Montreal, Toronto and Halifax, Toronto and Montreal, or Montreal and Vancouver.
Well, I'm sort of losing the will to live, so I'm just going to go with the main two that I know: Toronto and Montreal.
So you think that the National Bank Open or Canadian Open is played out in Toronto and Montreal?
Wait. Well, you said the bank. What the cities that the bank shared between, right? Or do you mean the actual tournament?
The tournament itself.
Oh, well, then obviously it's not going to be. Wait, what? Did you say?
It's the same tournament.
Oh,
They share the tournament.
It sponsors.
The two cities share.
Oh,
the
well, did you say Montreal and Quebec at any point? What did you
No.
say? Well, what?
I said Ottawa and Montreal.
Oh, that one
I'll give
then.
you the
That's
options
my
again.
answer.
Ottawa and Montreal, Toronto and Halifax, Toronto and Montreal, Montreal and Vancouver.
Okay, I'll go with. I mean, my Canadian geography is shite, but I'll go with Ottawa and Montreal. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah. You've got to get a grip.
I know I
It's
do.
obviously wrong.
I don't blame.
So for context, the Canadian Open is played out in the two cities.
Oh, it has to be Montreal or
and
something, doesn't it?
Montreal. I'm a little bit concerned as to what's happened in your brain.
I don't know. It's late.
Oh God, I can't even explain this. Basically, what I was going to say is, if it were anything but Toronto and Montreal, it doesn't
Montreal's
really
something else.
work out. Toronto and Montreal are the only two cities that are big enough to then hold that. Vancouver is, God, 8 hours away, so you can't host a tournament at the same time as another venue, 8 hours away.
Yeah. That's
Between
fine.
Montreal and Vancouver. Ottawa and Montreal, they're right next to each other, kind of. But obviously, Ottawa's not that big a city. It is the capital city, however. And obviously, Halifax is in Nova Scotia, which also is not large enough.
Okay. Well, I am thrown. So I said that originally, and then I don't know. You seem to not.
I just
that was right.
asked, is that the right answer? And I did what I do on every question. Where
Make me
where I
second guess
said,
myself.
Is it yes?
Well, that wraps it up for this week. I don't know what happened there. It's late. When I say it's late, it's not even 10 p.m., but it feels late. My brain's gone to mush. Doesn't take much, but yeah. Merlin feels very offended, taking that on for the whole of Canada, I think. Yeah, I don't think the Blue Jays will be too impressed.
The Blue Jay is crying. It's crying.
Anyway, apart from offending all of Canada, that was a good episode. I think I did quite well in the quiz there, apart from that last question. And well, yeah, if you would have been answering the questions, probably would have got 100%.
Yeah, that's
which is
true.
how it should have been. But anyway,
Yeah.
if you have enjoyed this episode, obviously give it a follow on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, on YouTube, like it, subscribe, share it around, and obviously let us know your predictions for the National Bank Open, or the Rogers Cup, or the Montreal Open, or the Toronto Open. And we will see you in the next one. Or the Canadian Open. And we will see you in the next one. Au revoir.